Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with this channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense, because here on this platform, we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm coming to be live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I also need to let people know that the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will have to be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes. I also have another channel called Latina Diaspora, where I talk about issues regarding Latinos residing in the United States. The link for that channel is in the description. Okay. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you have been a supporter from the very beginning or just recently joined us latest today, I really appreciate all the love and support that you give me. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, particularly when it comes to Instagram and TikTok. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices, as well as those who watch from the clouds, even the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on a playback. Okay. So as you can see by the thumbnail, tonight I'll be talking about how to avoid toxic people. But before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. First of all, I just like to say the good news that one of my most favorites content creators, Goddess, is back with a new channel. She just recently started airing content, okay, mostly reaction videos to certain celebrities and things of that nature. I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I would ask that you please check out her content and subscribe to her channel. Now, usually I don't comment, but tonight I'm going to comment regarding one individual. Now, in one video which Gigi aired, had to do with Louis Giretto commenting regarding supposedly how Gigi and Multi just going around, gossiping and things of that nature, and just trying to kiss African American people in the behind. I find it very ironic that he's calling out Gigi and Multi for gossiping. That he's doing the same thing. Okay. Now let me make this perfectly clear. Of course, he has the right to say whatever the fluff he wants, and he has the right to control his content in any way, shape, or form. But the thing is this: don't be hypocritical and call out somebody for doing something that you're doing yourself. And of course, as we can recall, I mean, he was celebrating the fact that Gigi and Multi had deleted their channels. He's been an op to those two ladies for a considerable amount of time. And then he decided to take a shot at me, talking about that I'm self-hating white Latino First of all, I find it amazing that the people who don't know jack about me are the loudest critics. Okay. If you're going to comment, at least try to get to know me a little bit before you opine. Okay. And just for your information, I do not identify myself as white. I identify myself as Latino. And I embrace all three aspects of of my culture, which consists of one part comes from Spain, one part comes from Africa, and the third part comes from the indigenous people, which are the Taino natives. I'm not even going to say Indians because they're not from they're not from India, and it can using that term can be labeled being racist, but people just love to project things that to other people who they're not, usually because they're hiding some sort um, deficiency, and the only way they can feel better is to talk about other people. Okay, that and 290 would get you a ride in the subway. But the fact of the matter is this, and I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Anyone that's thinking about creating a YouTube channel or a channel with any platform, they need to be mindful that they're going to need to have a thick skin, because you're going to have people that are going to opine negatively regarding you or regarding your content. Okay. And people have been painting okay, one or two, a couple of individuals have been painting false narratives about me for years. My response is, look, I'm just going to continue to be the best version of myself. Okay. And if people don't like that, they can kick rocks. Now, within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be taking a look as far as what I'm going to be doing with my other channel. Okay. So, so next week, I will not be airing any lives regarding Latina Diaspora. I might load some shorts, okay, but not nothing as far as any live streams. Because next week's schedule is going to be a little bit crazy due to the fact that I have a lot of social events coming up, and for me to go live after coming home from an event when I have to go to work the next day, I don't think I'll be doing that. So I will be doing content tomorrow night on my other channel, which I'm going to be talking about the different types of beverages that we drink during the holidays. Just a little, a little light information. Okay. Some of you do not are not aware of what we drink. I mean, of course, many of us drink coquito, which is a beverage that we drink during the Christmas time. But of course, other Latinos drink different types of beverages. So these are things I'm going to be discussing um, tomorrow night. Of course, I'll have a stream on Thursday night. Friday, most likely, it's going to be another round of open discussion. So, and of course, probably this weekend, I'll start thinking about what type of content I would like to air um, for next week. Most likely, I will be doing a stream regarding mental health issues. Okay, because we do have to acknowledge the fact that for many people, the holidays are a wonderful time because they're with family and loved ones. For some people, it's not. And we have to acknowledge the fact that unfortunately, it is during the holidays where the cases of depression increases and also thoughts of self-deletion. So, with that being said, if you know someone that recently lost a loved one, and if they seem a little bit distant, just try to be patient with them. Um, we all deal with grief in different ways, and one thing we have to bear in mind that grief has no time stamp. So, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. Now, as I want to let everybody know that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone, again, let me just state for the record, if I never seen you before, if I never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage to make sure that no one flashes anything inappropriate, which will cause the people of YouTube to take down their stream. I know it sounds repetitive, but I have to make that disclaimer because you never know. There might be one person that will try to get cute and do something like that. So it's my attempt to make sure, maintain um, a space where everyone is welcome to opine. Now, when it comes to avoiding toxic people, it's very important because it seems like there's certain people that they always got something negative to say or negative react no matter what. I mean, even if it's a beautiful day, they have to say no, they have to say the opposite. So we all have to deal with toxic people, whether it be at work, whether it be at school, or even toxic people in your own family. Okay. Now, when it comes to dealing with toxic people with the family, that is a challenge because they are related to you. But one of the keys is, of course, you need to set boundaries. Okay. And in my time, I had to like block certain individuals because they've been too toxic and they did not respect my boundaries. Okay. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Um, First of all, huge shout out to all those who are watching. So I'm going to ask again, those who are just entering as we speak, please hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything and it does help with the algorithm. So let me just share my screen. So I came across this article. I don't think this string is going to last long, maybe an hour. Um, we'll just see how it goes. So there's an article which states 7 tips on dealing with toxic people. So let's just begin with how the article says. Leadership would be so easy, as the saying goes, if it wasn't for people. And topping off the list of difficult people to work with, a lead is toxic people. The hard part, as much we might wish it was otherwise, toxic people are everywhere. The two questions spring out almost immediately when the subject of toxic people arises. How do you spot them? And how do you deal with them? It is critical in leadership to think through the people aspect of what you do. I know it's easiest for visionaries to think success lies in ideas or progress lies in execution. but the key of getting anything done is always people. What your accomplishes leadership is what more powerfully shaped by those who allow into leadership. If you let toxic people in, you pay a staggering price. My guess is not everyone liked the direction of the language in this point, and I get that. However, every day, gifted leaders quit toxic cultures, toxic bosses, and leave toxic workplaces. Every day, amazing businesses, churches, causes, and non-for-profit misses to their mission because someone allowed toxic leader to sabotage the work. And every day, good people go home discouraged and defeated because no one has the guts to deal with the toxic church environment. If you don't think our culture suffers from this toxicity and evil, just read the headlines or scroll down your feeds for a few minutes. Yep, will do. So, with that in mind, there are 7 insights that help me to immensely figure out on how to spot and deal with toxic people. What you're accomplishing in leadership is helping you more powerful shaped by who you allow into leadership. If you let toxic people in, you pay a staggering price. So here are the 7 ways to deal with toxic people. Number 1, understand that basically there are 3 kinds of people. It probably seems too simple to divide the world into 3 kinds of people, but try as he might avoid it. The clinical psychologist and best-selling author Henry Cloud hopefully points out in his book Necessary Findings that there are essentially 3 kinds of people in life and leadership. And they are wise people, foolish people, and evil people. Essentially, the difference between the wise people and foolish people comes down to how they deal with the truth. Wise people encounter truth and change as a result. For example, after getting a speeding ticket, wise people learn to slow down after being told that their words hurt someone. A wise person will try to understand why, apologize, and work hard not to do it again. They're open, not defensive. They learn and grow and tend not to make mistakes over and over again. Okay. Now, this requires a certain level of maturity and understanding that if you want a different result, do things differently and learn from mistakes that you have made. Foolish people encounter the truth and don't change. Instead, they try to adjust the truth so that they don't have to adjust to it. Confronted with a problem, a foolish person would deny, blame, minimize, or generate excuses or do anything in his or her power to avoid having to deal with reality. They don't learn and rarely grow. As Cloud frequently collaborator John Townsend put it, foolish people have a flat learning curve. As a result, they tend to wreak a lot of havoc and cause damage to their own lives and the lives of others. Foolish behavior means some broke people will always be broke, some chronic procrastinator will always be late, and some people keep running into the same problem again and again. They may mean well, but their lack of learning means they'll keep making things hard for themselves and others. Finally, it's hard to admit some people are really evil. They intend to harm you. They want to take you down. As hard as hard it is to believe, they don't have your best interest in heart and want to see you fail. I find it very hard to accept this early on in leadership, but I've seen it often enough to no longer dismiss it. There are basically 3 kinds of people in the world: wise people, foolish people, and evil people. The sooner you accept that, the easier it becomes to make progress. We'll talk about evil people later on this point. So, what do you do with this stark and unpleasant truth? Number two, realize some people won't change. At some point in our lives, all of us behave wisely, foolishly, and with evil intent. I know I've spoken words that I've tended to hurt, and when I do that, I'm acting in an evil or toxic way. And sometimes I make the same mistake over and over again, and when I do, that's foolish. People are generally wise and do foolish things and mean things. The good news with cloud category is that people do change with time and grow. Evil people may have a change of heart and start helping, not hurting. And when they do that, they can even become wise. Foolish people sometimes realize how much damage they do and decide to learn and grow. But overall, most of us have to admit that human beings fall into one of those three categories at any moment in life. You're either genuinely wise, foolish, or evil in your approach to in life. And that means as much as you want to believe otherwise, and despite your coaching and encouraging, fools often remain fools, and evil people remain committed to harming others. Yep, I know. I sound so judgmental and terrible, and I resisted for a long time. I resisted to my peril and to the peril of the people I lead, may I add. Henry Cloud admits it's a tough pill to swallow. If you're a responsible and loving person, then you might assume that people are like you, responsible and loving. They do the right thing, taking responsibility for themselves, for their mistakes, for their work, and they care about other people and how their actions affect those people. So it doesn't make sense that everyone else would like to. It doesn't make sense that everyone else would like to be like you and really care. Sure, if you live on Mars, but this is planet Earth, and if you're going to succeed in life in business, you need to succeed on this planet, not Mars. Just because someone can change and doesn't mean someone will change. Here, that's where your leadership and discernment comes in. So what's next? You learn how to spot toxic people. Number three, learn to spot toxic people. I'm increasingly convinced one of the leader's key tasks is to learn how to spot toxic people and take appropriate action. In my view, foolish people and evil people are toxic to your culture and mission. Fools pollute things, not because they're trying to ruin things, but because they, for whatever reason, do tend to do it again and again. Foolish leaders keep repeating the mistakes because they're neither convinced that they're right or oblivious to the fact that they are wrong, regardless of the fact that others have pointed it out. And evil people, well, they're meant to lie, harm, and malign. So how do you recognize the signs? A few years ago, I wrote outlining 6 early signs that you're dealing with a toxic person. I'm going to add a few more on this I didn't cover at that point to see if it resonates. Behavior that's ultimately toxic in your organization, culture, and mission includes, making the same mistakes over and over again, despite frequent attempts to help them, and ample time to correct the problem and change. Self-absorption, lying, manipulation, and unwillingness to listen to feedback, assigning blame, refusing to accept responsibility. They're never wrong, playing the victim, frequent anger, hidden agendas, a critical spirit about anything that they didn't think of, gossip or malicious talk about other people, ignoring boundaries that they or other people have set, passive aggressive behavior. What happens in your face and what happens behind your back are very different. Pursuing their own mission that's different from the organization's mission. Let's see. Okay. The list could be longer, but this gives you a sampling of toxic behaviors that people and missions take people and missions under. Naturally, we exhibit some of these behaviors listed above, and some for some time. We're all human, but the wise realize what they did, correct a course and change and grow. If you allow toxic people into leadership, you can make sure a toxic culture will follow. Take a good look in the mirror. The first place to look for wisdom, foolishness, and evil leadership is the least comfortable place to look in the mirror. I've been in senior leadership over 2 decades. As much as I don't want to admit it, it's still true. My organization will only be as healthy as I am. Little to you, fight if all you want, but your organization will only be as healthy as you are the leader. Even if you're not a senior leader, that's true of the team you lead, the department you run, or the crew you manage. The health of the leader tends to determine the health of the team. Interesting point of view. It's hard to have a healthy organization if you don't have a healthy leader. So when you see foolish behavior or bad intentions inside you, confess them and address them. Invite other people to give feedback, learn, and grow. Healthy leaders usually produce healthy teams. Unhealthy leaders don't. Limit fools. So what do you do with foolish people? Well, the problem with foolish people at work, you only have so many hours in the day and so much energy. The problem with pouring your time and energy into foolish leaders is that after you coach and help, they know better and you are drained. What's worse is their repeated mistakes impacted everybody around them and threatened the organization. Does it mean you have no fools at work? No, there's an abundance of foolish people and behaviors. And second, I'm not sure that completely eliminating fools from your life is a good idea. We should have at least one small space in our life for leadership for building into others. And even sometimes it takes a little bit more grace and a lot more time than we like. What does that mean, though? It is because your time is limited. You should limit your time with fools and be careful with who you hire and recruit. The key to fool is to limit the number and to limit the impact. Otherwise, the cost is simply too great. Whether they mean to do damage or not, foolish people can do a lot of damage. And it's hard to be a future with people who have trouble navigating the present. Remove evil people from your life. When it comes to evil people who want to wound, maim, and undo you or your organization, there's only one option. Block those attempts, get away, and stay away. Looking back at my leadership, I realized that there were seasons where, for whatever reason, people wanted to take me out or take down our mission. It hasn't happened often, but it has happened. Clear boundaries, firm decisions, and consistent no's that block any attempt that they make to undermine the mission are critical. When it gets serious, I always involve other leaders. I trust to make sure that we are dealing with someone who intends to harm and that the boundaries that we put in place make sense. On those rare occasions, those boundaries have included the police. And while my faith tells me to love my enemies, there's some instances that person best pray from a distance and not from up close. Imagine reaching 100, 1,000, or 10,000 new people in the next year if your mission continues. That's when people want to harm you, threaten. Taking the mission seriously means, as a leader, you have to take evil seriously. It's actually that important. Good evening, April Showers. Thank you very much for stopping by. And just to let everybody know that April Showers has her channel. So I'm going to ask that you show some love, check out her content, and subscribe. Set the top of your organization with wise people. Do you know how to get the healthiest team and how to best move the mission forward? Stack the top of your organization with many wise people as you can find. Stacking the top by means senior leaders, board, and other key leaders with as many wise leaders as possible is critical. Look for honest, humble, growing leaders who love to learn and open to feedback. Teachability is much easier in wisdom than IQ. A humble, hungry, teachable leader will be a smart leader anytime. Surprisingly, there are a lot of intelligent fools. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do based on points we have covered, and the regular vigilance that you need to maintain keep threats at bay. But the secret, once you do and stack the top of the organization with wise people, a natural buffer gets created. Eventually, multiplicity of wise leaders will help you create a healthy culture. And here's the truth about culture: create a deeply healthy culture, and over time, toxic people will leave. Why? Because healthy culture spits out toxic people. Just as healthy bodies ward out disease, healthy cultures ward out toxic people. And this is a surprise. No one gets kicked out. When your culture is ultra healthy, toxic people leave when they can't get traction or validation. Your long-term investment in visions finally pay off in ways that you never expected. And we're going to park it here. Okay. So one thing we cannot avoid. I mean, we all have to deal with toxic people at some point, whether it be in the job place, whether it be in school, whether it be in your family, or if you happen to belong to your place of worship, there's going to be toxic people. I mean, the best thing you can do is limit your exposure to such people. Okay. Toxic people will never take accountability for their actions. Okay. They love to blame everybody but themselves. Okay. Now, can a person change from being a toxic person to a non toxic person? Yes, they can do that. Okay. The key is they have to want and have the desire to do that. Now, one thing I can say that I mean, in my 3+ years as a content creator, you're quite welcome, April. You're quite welcome. Okay. Um, I did catch your stream earlier regarding P. Diddy. Um, Unfortunately, I'm working remotely, sort of Mondays and Tuesdays, so it makes it kind of hard to watch an entire stream, being that I have to be paying attention to my computer and things of that nature. I'll try to watch it on the playback, but we're all dealt with toxic people, okay? And there's been a few toxic people that appear on this platform, okay? Because what they do is, for whatever reason, they carry their beefs with, whether it be with me or whether it be with other people, to this platform. Which is why I said, look, if you want to go on and talk trash about other people on your platforms, that's perfectly fine with me. Do not bring your trauma to my cyber home. Okay. If I have to, I will remove people from the panel. If I have to, I'm going to block people. Okay. Because look, I shouldn't have to play referee because one person has an issue, someone on the panel or in the chat, and they cannot either engage with being cordial, or just don't engage with them at all. I mean, and I seen it here. I also seen it here. I seen it at my job. I also seen it with my family. And when it comes to family, that could be a challenge because we're all related. Um, I would say this: When it comes to dealing with family members who are toxic, try to limit your involvement with them as much as possible. If it gets to the point when they don't respect your boundaries, then you may have to cut them off at least temporarily until they finally get the memo that you mean what you're saying. Okay. And insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That is the pure definition of insanity. Okay. And that's the problem with toxic people. They keep doing the same thing over and over again and they're expecting a different result. Okay. Let me just give you the proper example. If you are if you are a parent and you tell your child, do not play with matches, okay, because you're gonna get burned. Some children will obey, others will play with matches. What happens? They get burned. Okay, and then what happens is the parent have to deal with them and then discipline them for not paying attention. Okay. The problem with toxic people is that they keep making the same mistake again and again and again. They keep doing the things that 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 bothers you, that try to rob your peace. I have dealt with toxic people in my plus 62 years of life. Okay. Those that I cannot avoid completely, I try to limit my exposure. Those that are able to avoid completely, I do. Okay. It all depends. I mean, do I really need some of these people in my life? No. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share another article. Just give me a moment. Okay. So I'm gonna share with you some tips how to deal with toxic people. And then what I'll do is I'll talk about it for a little bit, and then is there if there's no other interaction in the chat, then I'll start to wrap it up. Okay. Oops. Excuse me. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Women's health. Just to bear with me because my computer seems to be acting up. Boy, this is going to be one of those nights. Okay. So here's the article. Common types of toxic people you may encounter and how to deal with. Beware of the manipulator. If you spend as much as 5 minutes on Twitter, or now they're known as X, or I don't know what, I don't know, went to high school, you know there are toxic people in the world. The question is, how do you deal with them? Whether it's personally or professionally, we'll need to find ways to gracefully handle toxic personality, says Leah Blackwell, LPC, founder of Rockwell Wellness Counseling, based in Franklin County, Pennsylvania. She notes that common advice to simply cut toxic people out of your life while appealing isn't always practical. Of course, if the relationship has become physically or mentally abusive, you should indeed part ways and consider seeking professional help. Finding ways to cope and setting clear internal and external boundaries is key to working through their tough relationships, Rockwell says. The hardest part is that in many cases you still care about the toxic people in your life. Maybe it's your mother or friend you have had for years. The good news is never too late to take charge and shift the direction to relationship, says Rockwell. Below you'll find the 10 and how to manage their relationships. Number one, the judge. Not found their own, says Miller. Number two, the negative Nancy or Nate. This person struggles with finding positivity in anything or anyone and often discourages others of finding it as well. There are some signs that you got the negative Nancy or Nate on your hands. They struggle to see the silver lining. They're always looking for the worst at a given person, situation or person. Excuse me. Come on. They ramble on about problems, showing little or no interest in finding a solution or make changes in their lives. How they do, no matter, no surprise here, but having some kind of person in your life can be rough to handle. They can be extremely detrimental to someone who is going through a really tough time dealing with a mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, or someone who struggles with their own self-confidence. No. Professional psychologists urge those who live with mental health issues to make sure their company is safe and secure, with the intended goal of promoting positivity sentiment. In other words, you would not want your pour water on someone who's already drowning. A figure to illustrate illusions of what someone who is in a bad space may get interacting with this type of person, she adds. The bottom line is you have a lot of types of these people in life and wearing on your mental health. Cut them out of your life or make a conscious effort to take over their activity with a network of positive people in your social network. she suggests. The narcissism. Let me just first make sure. Okay. You can be certain that you're dealing with a narcissist when it's about them all the time. But other key indicators includes acting as if they're an expert in everything, a quick fuse when you disagree with them, and a tendency to put others down to bolster their own image. How to deal? If you're a good listener, take care of yourself by knowing when to tune out and detach this background. Just because they need the audience does not mean that you have to be a politely disconnect and move on. If you feel that relationship can be remedied, expressing your true feelings and gently sharing with this person and how your actions impact you can prove helpful. Especially with narcissists, it is vital that the friend is reminded that you are a person in a dynamic two-sided relationship, says Taylor Orlandoni, a therapist based in New York City. This is because those who suffer with personality disorders and toxic traits are less likely to consider that they are a person on the other side. You need to remind them your own thoughts, feelings, and reactions, and the give and take aspect of interpersonal relationship. Orlandoni gives an example of grabbing drinks with this kind of person. Though you thought that this was a date to catch up on together, but your pal is busy chasing down potential suitors. Instead of saying quiet, speak up honestly and share your expectation for the evening. Let them know how you feel so they can see their actions feel negative reactions on your end. That switch is so frustrating, we know. For your own mental health, leaning into honesty with toxic friends and sharing their effort on you is credit fruiting. Orlandoni says. The manipulator. Excuse me. Let me just get some. This sort of person is always scheming to take advantage of you or steer your relationship in some way to benefit them. Says Shannon Gunnett, a psychotherapist based in New York and Rhode Island. They may have little regard for your feelings and they often lack remorse when they do emotionally wound you. Gunnett says, by adding the manipulator often has poor impulse control and may lie, steal, or engage in other negative practices. How to deal. Reset your relationship with them and show them that you're willing to enact consequences for the manipulative behavior. For example, if this person borrows money and you fail to pay it back, do not lend money the next time they ask, says Gunnar. If they're always nagging you for workload, let them know that you reached your threshold for connecting them to trusted colleagues and it's best to go away. Here to you, college pal constantly begging or linking intros with zero reciprocation. The social media pretender. You know, the roommate that you're sharing photos of themselves on Instagram wearing, vote shirt when you know they didn't cast their own, or the coworker constantly touting the personal accomplishment on Facebook. It can take up a few people in your life who fit the bill. Just check and make sure. Okay. Friends who display toxic positivity on social, but reality have a difficult time coping are the pretenders, and they're toxic because relentless, noxious positivity online that translate into deeper unhappiness in real life, says Orlandoni. And in Just Your Luck, all the friends' actual unhappiness or pessimism will be routed towards you, since they feel it's safe to throw it all on your shoulders. How to deal, improve relationship with this kind of person, let them know that how jarring it is to see them pretending all the time on social media. You might even want to know that scholarly research shows that this kind of behavior impacts mental health of those around them and will counter this sort of toxic positivity, such as Orlandoni. It's another word. Mute them on social media, unfriend or unfollow them if that's an option. The gossip. Who doesn't know someone who seems to thrive on dissecting and dissing the happening at others, or has not have known that person at least on occasion raise his hand? Of course, gossip can feel innocent, but chronic dishes of the dirt likely demean others as a way of soothing their own insecurities and unhappiness, Miller says. How to deal if you're grappling with a constant gossiper in your life, you might find comfort in knowing that creating such circles of drama is often a means of escape, for example, from self-esteem problems and unhappy relationships and so on, says Miller. And with other type of challenging personality, you want to set up boundaries to safeguard your well-being. If you don't want to hear the gossip, say so or control the conversation or do something more positive, says Miller. You can still have a relationship with a gossip, but just know you probably have on the discussion channel as well, she says. Perhaps not the person to tell your deep, dark secrets to. The attention seeker. This toxic person Gunnar describes can never have enough of your time or attention. The attention seeker may be overly agreeable or easily swayed in order to stay on your good side and will often mistake your relationship for being emotionally closer than what actually is, Gunlip says. How to deal if you find yourself in this kind of relationship, Gunlip said recommends not reacting when they try to impress you. The more attention you give them, the more they will persist, she says. The one-sided friend. Humans long for connection and inclusivity. When they finally open ourselves and make a connection with people who become friends, they can feel let down when relationship becomes one-sided, says Colin Woodward, a psychotherapist at Good Place Therapy and Counseling in New York City. With time, this kind of friendship can really chip away at your self-esteem. Woodward cautions. How to deal. That's why communication is so important. It's difficult to be vulnerable, but remember that your friend is not a mind reader and may have no idea that you're feeling slighted, she says. If you talk with your friend and it doesn't work, it might be time to move on, but at least you can have some peace knowing that you did your part to salvage things. The drainer. Real talk. Admitting that you're alone is no easy feat, and unfortunately, there's a social stigma involved too. But when these feelings are pushed down for a long time, some people have a tendency to toxically take from the friend or support the closer proximity and drain emotional resources from that one friend that they're clinging onto or close enough to admit feelings of loneliness, says Orlandoni. Says. This can be a huge burden for a friend on the other side. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. The topic is tonight is how to avoid toxic people. So I'm just talking about the types of toxic people to avoid. This type of person, no matter how much you give them, constantly needs more of your time or worse, your emotional energy adds more. Well, a telltale sign that you enter this type of relationship is that you leave every conversation or interaction with a person feeling exhausted or emotionally depleted. In a small in a small group, you might literally feel that all your energy from that room as soon as person opens their mouth. How to deal? It's fun to set boundaries with these individuals. Remove their shame by saying things like, I can hear that I wish I had more time during the week to see you. I will wonder if our friend X homework might actually have more space for you this week. Would, would you feel comfortable considering this support advice is all and done? Opening the doors for inviting new friends and support without making the trainer feel like they're well a drain. Yes, never say anything like you're too much for me to deal with. Or not everyone has as much time as you do. But gently pry the option of the other system support and the possibility of open if you care about this one. Salvaging things may take time, just like cultivating a windowsill basil plant from your brown thumb previously and earlier twice. But the positive change in your relationship can be worth the effort. And we're going to park it here. So, as you can see, there are different types of people who may be toxic. And with each type of person deals with a different strategy. Okay. But one of the key factors is you have to set boundaries. Okay. For yourself and for your own peace of mind. And if people, for whatever fluff reason, does not accept your boundaries, then you need to cut them off. Okay. It is unfortunate, but it's a reality. There have been certain individuals that I had to cut off on my life because of the fact that there was too bloody toxic for me. Okay, and it was too much too draining on me. And at my stage in my life, I'm trying to avoid as much toxic behavior as I can. So, with that being said, I've spoke for about an hour. So, as I stated earlier, the link to join the panel has been pinned. Perhaps you may want to hit the panel and express your point of view regarding the topic. Or you may want it to stay in the chat and just comment further. If no one hits the panel and no one comments further, then I will stop to wrap this up. But the truth of the matter is, there's been a lot of toxic people, you know. And when I mean toxic people, I am not just simply referring to this platform. I'm also referring to people who are who 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 are our loved ones. Also referring to people who are co-workers, classmates, or even neighbors. Okay, you have to do whatever you need to do to maintain your peace of mind. Okay, if people do not wish to respect your boundaries, You have to cut it off. I mean, there's been certain individuals that I once associated with um, that I had to cut it off completely due to the fact that there was toxic as heck, and they did not want to change their conduct. They did not want to change their behavior. Okay, and there's been a couple people that I have to ban from this platform. Okay, because they did not, first of all, they did not respect my boundaries. They was toxic, and they left. They lacked the accountability to recognize that they are the problem. Because, and unfortunately, when you're dealing with people who has an issue with taking personal accountability, what they will do is they'll blame everybody but themselves. Okay, and we have seen it. We've seen it on Facebook. We've seen it on YouTube. Definitely see it on TikTok. I mean, the level of people that actually load content videos of them not taking accountability, it's incredible. Okay, I can understand why certain people prefer not to deal with TikTok and other social platforms because it's like they're crowded with people who are hurt. And of course, we all know hurt people hurt people. Okay. And what I mean by that, when people are damaged psychological, what they will do is they'll take out on their issues with other people. Okay. Because unfortunately, they don't have the ability um, of self reflection. Exactly. They don't have the ability to reflect on themselves. They don't have the ability to accept accountability. They don't have the ability to say, you know what? Maybe I need to rethink some of these things. We're all dealt with it. We're all dealt with it. Um, and when it comes to people who are unwilling to take accountability for their actions, it's best to limit your involvement with them or cut them off completely. Because for them, they're always the victim. They're always one that feels to be perceives to be persecuted. They're the ones that everyone is against them, and they have this huge sense of paranoid behavior. I mean, we have seen it with content creators. We have seen it in our own personal lives. So, so with that being said, let me just state what's going to be the topic for tomorrow night. I'm going to do another live on Latina Diaspora, where I'm going to be talking about the different types of beverages that Latinos consume during the holidays. Okay, which is not just coquito. Okay, that's something that Puerto Ricans drink, and I think other Latinos do that as well. So I'm probably gonna be on for maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and then Thursday I'll have another topic which I will discuss, and Friday most likely is going to be open discussion. So what is my take? Um, there are certain people um, you might be able to correct, okay, as far as being toxic, if they are that in that stage of their lives when they're able to accept accountability for their actions. But be mindful, there are people that no matter what, they'll never take accountability for their actions. They always got someone else to blame. And some people, you're just going to have to learn to avoid completely. So, so with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up, okay? And of course, the playback gang, please do your thing. You're more than welcome to opine. Just be mindful. Try to be respectable with your comments. Anyone that puts in disrespectful comments, they're going to be deleted. It is that simple. So, in any case, before I go, I do have a goal. So, okay, my goal is to reach 500 subs by the end of the year. Okay, I'm at 490, so I'm only 10 subs away. So I really would appreciate it if you will pass the word to other people in regards to this channel. Of course, I will ask that you please consider subscribing and be make sure that you set the notifications to all so that whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, with that being said, just I trust that you will be more prepared how to deal with toxic people, and there may be toxic people that you'll need to avoid. So, with that being said, of course, I'm going to close the same way that I always close, which is we must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged. Because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron saying good night, take care, and peace.